Kaiden, hi there. It's Martin and Nick, and today we're going to go through the property in 195 Walthall Street. So the plan is to go through the sales particulars first. So let's get into it, and then we're going to work our way from there into the Viewbridge stuff. So this property is here, and here we go. So the thing I would say about this off the bat is that it's a better than average house. So when it was built with a little extra care. And the reason you know that is because you can see all this fancy neo-Gothic feature here. And also the quality of the bricks look reasonably good. You know, they're clean, and that would be because they've got a kind of glazed outer surface. Now, this is also a single cavity, or should I say a solid wall. And the reason I know that is because if you look at the bricks, you can see you've got one running across, one running, so horizontal across, whatever. So single, double, like that. And that's where the two rows of bricks kind of connect together in a solid wall. It's kind of a bad thing, but it's a fundamentally well-built house. So, and also you've got the stone lintels, and this thing here, this this bay window, the roof on the bay window looks like it was replaced probably in the 1970s. So moving on, the reason I think it's the 70s is because this staircase was probably built around then, 60s, 70s. And the reason I say that is because modern building regulations wouldn't allow such a staircase. The stairs are open at the back, and you have these kind of long run banisters. And the rule is that with these, if you can get a sphere 100 millimeters through that, i.e. size of a baby's head, basically, then it doesn't meet regs, and that might not pass modern regs. But if you're not tearing the thing out and you're just leaving it there, you're okay. So this will not end up being a family house, I suppose. I'm not sure. But anyway, the other thing is that the steps are open backed and there's no carpeting on them. But beyond that, they're fine. So the other thing to notice here is that the property doesn't have any coving. Now, if this was an original property from the day, as it were, it would have had coving because it was a slightly more fancy property than the usual. And this is good. And the reason it's good is because they probably stripped out the plaster and lath, because if they didn't, you'd have the original coving. And why is plaster and lath annoying? Because it gives an uneven finish, because it's just strips of wood. And usually it's more like this. It's like the cheapest of cheap wood. And then you have a plasterer who tries to make it smooth. But the other problem with plaster and lath is that when the plaster gets really old, this plaster gets very brittle. And if, for example, you had a leak or something in the upstairs, then this gets soggy and the whole thing can just collapse. So these walls are very prone to collapsing, and this property doesn't seem to have them, which is great. So the ceilings have been stripped out and it uses plasterboard. This is all really good news.
Sorry.
And on the back of the property, you do have some kind of damp-proof course of sorts. So you see that black strip of bricks down there. So that's kind of a damp-proof course, I guess. It would be bricks that would be impervious to moisture, I suppose. And then above that, then you have regular bricks. And so the good bricks, if you notice, the shiny ones are on the front and the less good bricks on the back. And so moving on, the windows look like they were replaced in the last 20 years. So that's good. I will see some more video footage in a minute. Little mark there, but basically this all looks good. It looks like it doesn't have damp, which is really important. Carpets are very thin throughout, and you can see a decent kitchen. That's good. It doesn't need any work. It's just an economy kitchen. Nice. But you could see here, this is not good. So I think if it was me, I would definitely replace the carpets, get a nice good underlay under there, replace the carpets, and just improve the overall feeling of the place. I would also sort out some of the lighting because it's very bare and just looks ugly. And just little touches. Essentially, what we call this staging. So it's where you stage the property like you're staging something on a stage set. You're making the property just feel that little bit better, and that's how you can get more rent and better tenants. So it's all these little things. Again, very, very, the carpets need changing. And I would imagine it needs painting and decorating throughout. Bathroom looks okay. This looks like an original bath, magnolia, ugly, but at least it's got the solid shower screen, which is a big plus. It's got 1970s taps, but that's okay. It's not a problem. Same story here with this basin. This is very 70s looking, but at least they've updated the lavatory. So that's a plus. And it's a good size. So this is the downstairs front room. Martin, can you just comment on how much you would get if you rented that out?
Basically, you cannot convert to third bedrooms, but the people who will rent, they will know that it will have third bedroom basically downstairs. So that will increase a little bit the rent, but not a lot, like £25 per month.
I think
but
from building regs point of view, though, this is okay as a bedroom.
Yeah.
As long as because it's not like it's in a loft room where you have to have fire safety and all this. It's on the ground floor.
Yeah, and it's I don't know why it's not converted as third bedroom, to be honest, but this property is 83 meters square, so that's why you have enough space downstairs for your living room and kitchen separate. So I think this basically can be used as third bedroom or study room, or depends what you prefer to.
Yeah.
Depends what kind of tenants. Yeah, what kind of tenants you will find. That's.
It needs a new carpet as well.
Yeah,
the whole thing needs recarpeting, in fact.
Yeah, you need to recarpet, maybe paint or change the doors, paint the whole house. So basically, that's why I said when the renovation cost will be around 30 to 3,200 around.
Yeah.
It will not cost a lot. Depends what you want to do with the doors, because kitchen looks okay, bathroom looks okay. So just new flooring is needed.
Well, let's have a look at some of the videos and see what we got here. So there are those staircase. I mean, it's not worth ripping out the staircase, but if that was today, it wouldn't be allowed. If you tried to build that today, you would have building regulations issues. So it's also got the textured wallpaper, which is then painted over it. There's no point in stripping that out. It's got unpleasant blinds. It's got the old chimney breast. So far it looks all right. It's just irritating when Viewer people give us very low resolution.
Did you notice that these properties, it have more space, like it's more tall than usually?
No, that's interesting. You see here, you've got this crack in the ceiling. Now, I don't know what's going on here, whether that's plasterboard or plaster and lath. I assume it's plasterboard. It looks okay. It's an economy house, so.
Yeah. It is good size.
Yeah, it is. And that's nice loft hatch. Very good. Should be 2 loft hatches. So there's that one to the smaller roof, and then there should be another. So, okay, so it just generally feels absolute bare bones, this property, which is okay. It just feels not like a home. It all looks okay. Some young person is here, you can kind of tell. Lots of shoes. At least they're looking after it. That's nice. So is that a young lady? That is. So it's a classic kind of student, young.
Because this is really central, I think it will rent for some students or. It will have nice amounts in place. So.
Textured ceilings. That's a decent kitchen. It's nice to see they're looking after it. So these, yeah, just young working people. Ah, the weather in England, delightful.
And this was the video was watching Saturday, and the weather wasn't really good. It was so rainy.
And what we don't know is, let's have a look at the Google. Okay, so we've got that, and let's just see what the guy says. Usually these reports aren't very helpful, honestly. He likes it.
Like it.
Yeah, likes. Okay, well, that's encouraging. Now, let's just have a quick look at the satellite with the street view. And the reason I want to look at that is quality of brickwork and roof, which we can't see, which is annoying. But I assume it's got clay tiles. Clay tiles are quite good in that they're easy to swap out if they're easy to swap out if they're. Let's just try. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. I assume the roof is okay.
I will check. Can I?
Yeah. Are you able to get a view of it somehow?
Yes, I think.
Is it to just look at historic street view and see if you can see it?
No, from Water Street. I can share screen quickly and after you can
please do.
So basically what did they check on this street? The property should be here, just to be sure. Then watching on this correct location. Property is here, so okay, so 1, 2 after second chimney. So it should be this roof here, so
okay.
So I don't see
it'll probably be okay, I expect. What's encouraging is there's no bowing in the roof at all, so that's good. All right, let's get on with the rest of it. So let's talk about capital growth and all that lovely stuff, demographics and so on.
You can share screen. Yeah. Okay, I find on 2009.
Oh, well done.
That the roof looks okay. That this period, I don't see any like issues. So
I think the roof looks okay too. Yeah, I agree. Okay, that's encouraging. So let's just get into the capital growth story here. And if we look at the mapping, well, first we've got to deal with crime. So is it crimey? Not really. It's a bit of, there's some urban crime, but it's nothing major. There's something going on here, but I suspect there are shops and the like around here, and that's why you're seeing issues in that spot. But overall, this is fairly quiet. The demographics, it's kind of a working area. Quite a lot of DEs. So see, okay, that's interesting. A lot of C1s. Now, one thing you get with C1s is a lot of private rented, interestingly, and there's a lot of private rented here. So this is one of those areas that, yeah, has a large number of private rented tenancy, you know, just people renting basically. So that's fine. Got a park here, that's good. And all right, let's get into the capital growth stuff. So it's one of those areas where you're not going to see a great deal of growth, actually. So it's gone up 3% over the last few years, which just is not a whole lot. That's 3% above the rate of inflation. So it tanked quite badly in the last crash, and it grew heavily in the early cycles. So I'll just explain, just to give you more context. Right, so markets work in cycles, and as you can see here, there are lots of cycles. It was kind of disrupted by the First World War, but you can see there's a little peak here, and that's 8 of them, and we're in number 9. And we typically, what happens is that in the boom phase where we are now, people are trying to find value, essentially. So when the market crashes, weak areas get trashed and good areas kind of hold out. And then you've got different layers of this. So you've got citywide growth, and that can vary. That can be totally different from one city to another, believe it or not. So London was counter-cycled to everywhere else. So when the country was crashing, London was booming. And then when the rest of the country started booming, London just kind of went sideways. So anyway, the point being that we're in this phase now. So what does this mean in reality? Well, in the last upcycle, it grew 98% in real terms, this area, which is high, and then it declined 34% in real terms. So if you'd got in at 2003, by 2013, you still would have been up, just not as up as you would have been in 2008. And then from 2008, peak of last market, to now, it's actually declined 23%. So it's still got a lot of headroom. Now, my prediction is that assuming this market keeps heating up, because we're in the last phase of the current cycle, then it will grow in value. And it will be worth more than you paid for it in real terms, inflation adjusted terms, as and when the next crash comes. So what does that mean in practice? Well, nominally, it's gone up £12,000 in 3 years, but remember, you've got to factor in inflation. So I think it will grow in the next 4 years. It'll probably creep up a bit, probably in the region of another. Remember that you got inflation, so it'll probably go up in nominal terms 25%, which is good, but in real growth terms, it'll just kind of stay with inflation. So the reason you would own this is not for the growth, it's for the yield. And you can see here, relatively speaking, it's slightly below average on growth relative to all other postcode districts in the country. But in the last upcycle, it was one of the biggest capital growth areas. So my view is it's probably going to accelerate and grow a lot more, but it's not particularly healthy growth, to use an idea. Right, in terms of selling and whatever, so this isn't a particularly strong market. In other words, viewings aren't going to get booked out in a day or 3 hours or something. You know, it's like there'll be drips and drabs. They'll be happy to talk to us and they'll be interested in what we got to say. Whereas in Manchester, it's just like, just give me your offer, go away kind of thing. This, you know, it should be a slower sell, and it will rent. It'll rent. It's not a massively strong renter. And if I go back out and I show you the turnover for rent and sale, this is slightly different data, but it'll give you a sense of what's going on. So CW2, yeah, I mean, it's a strong rental, solid rental demand, and it has reasonable growth. And that's all I can say really about that. Martin, over to you.
I will share my screen.
By the way, Caden, do you like Martin's new webcam? It's all much better. I think you're using a new webcam, aren't you, Martin?
No, I just cleaned better. I still didn't use it, but I will start.
It's better.
Yeah.
Whatever you've done, it's working better.
Yeah, and the light is better here. I changed my room.
That helps.
So basically, the location is really nice. It's really central to the main train station. It's this really central Crewe. So you're not far away from markets. So you have schools, so college, so it will attract a lot of people just because of the train station, the college, the schools, the shops. So this is like a famous place. All this around here is a good location for a house. And I know that demographics closer to the train station are worse than how you're going on the left side. It's better and better and better. So yeah, that's what I want to say. The location. It's
very central, isn't it?
Yeah, and also behind you have a street, and some people use, as you can see, some people use it to make a garage behind, I mean car park behind, but not all of them, like just few. You have
Also, there
parking
is
on,
good car parking. I mean, it's tight because there's a lot of cars there, but actually there are plenty of open spaces. So there is parking. That's good.
Yeah, so you don't need to worry about this. The floor plan, as we said, like this can be used as extra third bedroom, so that's amazing. The property is built before 90s, but it's reasonable good. And and I will show you how I know, because when it's 83 meters square, EPC it can be C. So basically, solid bricks is built, no insulation. They assume the roof looks nice. It has 270 millimeters insulation. That's really nice. Usually, all property doesn't have. So this means that the roof is renovated maybe 40, 50 years ago, 30, depends. Yeah, this looks okay. So basically, what you need to do to make it see, you just need hot water cylinder insulation. That's around 300 pounds, I think. Low energy light, this around, just to change the lighting in all the rooms, I guess it's around 50 pounds. And heating,
good.
Yeah, and this heating controlled room thermostat, I think it's around 1000. I'm not sure. This replace boiler with new considered boiler. If you want to replace the boiler, and it will be C, so then that will give you, and the boiler is around 2500. But if you need to do it in next future, yeah, maybe this property need to replace the boiler. If you need to replace the boiler, that's 2500 more for renovation. I want to say that there is no flood risk here. So as you can see, they said that's low risk, rivers and sea low risk. So I will be not worried about it. And also I want to say that the Crewe about, we also checking coal mining. And you can see there is no coal mining in Crewe, as you can see. It has Stoke, it has some part of Manchester, it has this part, so you don't need to be worried about coal mining. So that's a good. And I will go to comparables, and I will go to the first page. Like this is I will just zoom in a little bit so you can see. Like 2-bedroom terrace houses selling. I think this is too much asking price, because and they are not same type of house. So you can see they're asking 115, 120, 115. This is not same type. 115, 115, 110, 110, but no, not same type. 110, 110, 110. But this is 2019, so.
Yeah, but there's been no real capital growth around here. I mean, there will be a little bit now.
But not, yeah, so I think the asking price 110 is correct. And I will not pay more than 115, but even I will try, because it's Crewe, I will try like 108 just to see how, or is it one, just to see if we can.
Once if you want to offer, Caden, then once I start talking to the agent, I'll kind of work out where we're at, and we go from there. But let's talk about yield. I'm very curious about this.
Yeah, it will rent for 650, sorry. And so let's say that.
So what are the rental comparables like?
Yeah. 650. I think it will rent because it this property, and you can see it's same type of property.
Isn't it just?
Yeah, everything is the same. But I just need to be as they did the paint and put new carpets. So and you can see they paint the kitchen in white. So you can do the same, but you don't have to. So 625. But this was in 2020, so now.
Is this property currently tenanted, by the way? Sorry.
No.
Okay.
So as far as remember, it's no, but just double check. No. Oh, that's old. Oh. We need to check.
So it's getting it's 495 a month, which is quite low.
Yeah, but it can be increased up to 650.
Mm.
But I think if you take it with tenants, depends. We need to see if you take it 550, but basically you don't need to do anything if you take it with this yield 550. If you can increase 1711108, let's say, if you buy it, so that's 6.1. If you increase a little bit the tenancy, but basically for renovation, what you need to do is carpeting. You need to do painting and carpets and doors. So basically that's around 3,000 around. So and plus if you need boiler, it's 5,000 maximum, because I don't see
Okay.
any other
Well, let's do a
issues.
general final wrap up, and then we're kind of there.
We need to check with tenancy. I forget that it was tenanted. Good
Yeah,
catch.
well, that's fine. We'll have a look into it and we'll sort of work it all out. So, okay, on the whole, the property is in reasonably good condition. I think it's fundamentally okay. And this is important because it's very easy to get nasty surprises like, oh, you got rising damp there, and then it's just another £5,000 and a lot of disruption and all that stuff. £5,000 to fix. So I don't think this property really needs anything major. These the tenants have got this property a bit cheap, so very cheap, and we would need to find out what the situation is there. This is not going to be a stellar capital growth deal. It's just going to be all about the cash flow, and it should be a low hassle property, but I think it just depends what you want, Caden. If you want the growth, this is not for you. But it might. I say that,
but
it's
if
a
you
real
make
punt. There's no trend of growth as such. It's fairly flat line, and this isn't a hot town, as it were. Whereas Radcliffe and these other places are. Based on the previous market cycle, yes, it should go up. Possibly more than the 3% that my algorithm predicts, but I'm not wholly confident. So it's like, if you want it, it's easy to buy because there'll be very little competition. The issue is I don't see it being a great growth winner, and that's kind of an issue for me.
Yeah. I want to say that Kaiden asked a few questions, so here is this, so maybe you can answer some question. I saw that something cracking on the toilet second floor. No.
Because it's on the first floor. So if there's damp, it's not rising damp. It's either damp because a gutter isn't fixed or something, and therefore that's easy, fix the gutter. But I didn't see any substantial damp, and therefore I think this property is actually quite good on that whole front.
Yeah.
We know it's
495,
and
we need to ask.
It's a strong rental market. So the answer is you would find something probably within a month, thereabouts. It's not like Manchester where people are just.
But I think but I think this location in Crewe is amazing, so they will.
Yeah, it's a strong location. I think if the property was a little bit of investment in carpets and decorating, and improve the lighting a little bit, and just stage the property nicely, then it's 650 all day long. And it would rent quickly because it's in a great location.
Yeah, and my suggestion is it possible to have EPC rate review since its EPC is C, so
usually the good thing about this property as well is that we have this issue with EPC regulations on the horizon. Now, whether it materializes or not, I don't know, but it's that thing about the government are talking about mandating EPC-C for all rental properties, which would be disastrous for poorer people because they're the ones who live in these houses that are EPC-E. I think if they revise it to EPC-D, I think that's a reasonable target. But, one has to hedge one's position a little bit. And the good thing about this property is that it can achieve EPC-C relatively easily. From what we see on the EPC certification. So that's a good thing.
So my suggestion, if you can rise up 550 and keep the tenants until like, I don't know, half year on year, and after like the renovation
Yeah,
and
so
increase the
if you want
rent.
to stop screen share, we'll do the final assessment. So
Yeah,
yeah, anyway, yeah, go on.
my suggestion, like if you can rise up 550, 575 at least, and don't touch anything, maybe just painting and maybe change carpets. We need to make a deal with tenants, and after that, like just keep them like 1 year, and after some years, just because to not make them revolt, and after make them to go away and find better tenants and increase the rate 650, because I think you cannot increase the rent for these tenants 650 because 150 is, I guess it's a lot for them. I don't know. We need to find out. But my suggestion, 550, it will give you 6% of yield. That's okay. And after 1 year, just renovate, spend, let's say 3-5K, depends how much it needs, and make it better, find better tenants, and ready to roll. So
Yeah,
and refinance it.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
You will do renovation.
I agree. I agree, and I think as a it'll give you some cash flow. It'll cook nicely, as it were. You know, it'll be a property that you'll hang on to for a long time, and it'll grow nominally, at least in capital growth. I don't think it'll crash hard in the next crash. It'll just be a solid little property, but you know, if it's growth you want, this isn't the one for you. There are other places out there where you spend a bit more money and you'll get something which gives you a much better return, and it'll kind of break even on cash flow. The other thing, of course, is that it's £110,000. So therefore you're into this whole thing about, well, you know, you got to fund it with cash and then refinance later. So you would buy a couple of these properties and then bundle them up into a single mini portfolio, and then get them refinanced through HTB, Hampshire Trust Bank. So that's a whole thing in itself. But there it is. So we didn't do the scoring on this property, did we?
Yeah, no.
Let's just for the sake of brevity, I give this an average. If I think about the whole story here, I'm giving it a 3.75.
I will go. Yeah, I will go this because it will have good yield. It's tenant, and basically you just need to rise up a little bit. So yeah, the location is amazing, but the capital growth is not perfect. So and it's tenanted a bit low. So yeah, I'll give 3.6, something like this. Yeah. And if you increase the rent, then it will be almost 3.8. So, but I will not give 4. It's not amazing deal. But for this amount of money, it's a valuable deal.
Yeah, because the property is in fundamentally good condition. All right, then. That's that. Well, thank you very much, and see you in the next video.
Yeah.